Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Zahruddin Treki, or you may know me as Z, Zahar, or by my social media handles, Badla Arabiya, and I would like to welcome you to the first episode of Kulluna Tuhaf. Which has been a long time coming for a lot of you who know me. First off, I would like to thank you for tuning into this podcast and to the episode, and inshallah you're going to love the journey that I'm going to be taking you on as we explore the exciting world of art brought to you by Libyan talent globally. However, before we dive any deeper, I would like to explain a little bit about myself and the reasons behind me wanting to start this podcast. I am currently a 22-year-old recent marketing graduate from the University of Ottawa, and I've made many countries and cities my home, but my heart belongs to my hometown, Misrata. And I've always seen myself as this creative person, whether it be in school projects or solutions to my problems in my everyday life, or just coming up with creative ideas in general. But as of late, I've been very into art, and art of all kinds, whether it be music, fashion, painting, photography. I love it all. But my favorite of all being fashion and anything about fashion. So designs, fabrics, runway shows, I could just talk for hours. I love it all. And at one point, I really wanted to start a fashion brand, but I came to a block because I don't want to slap artwork on a t-shirt. And to be completely honest with you, I'm not one to do work with my hands. I can't embroider, I can't sew, I can't knit, and I'm very, very clumsy. I also tried to dabble in photography, but I came to realize that it wasn't for me either. I tried the YouTube thing as well, and even that didn't really speak to me. And I just couldn't find my creative calling. Since graduating, I've been wanting to do more with my life, as over the past year, I felt unaccomplished, unsuccessful, unmotivated. I feel like I've done nothing in my life so far, nothing to help out my community, nothing to help out myself. I feel as though there's an emptiness in my life, a void. And I've tried almost everything to make myself useful or to try and fill the void, and nothing really helped out until I found this podcast to be my solution. To begin this path of finding myself, so to speak, this journey begins in February of 2018 when I came to discover a Libyan artist named Ayub who was doing work for The Weeknd at the time. And Ayub spoke to me about the struggles of being a creative in Libya, the pros and cons of being an artist, and the perspective of the Libyan community and the lack of support. He also spoke to me about the lack of resources due to the social, economic, and political challenges that Libya faces. He described to me what seems to me and many Libyans as hopelessness in our community due to what many people are facing. These issues have caused these people pain and misery, and they have just completely given up on their dreams, goals, and aspirations due to the issues that never seem to end. I spoke to another friend of mine, Allah, who runs the Libyan Creative page on Instagram. If you don't know the page, it's dedicated to sharing the great work put out by the talented and amazing Libyan we have all over the world. And she sees the same issues back home as I do, and as Ayub does. And her and Ayub both believe that we should do our part as Libyans and as lovers of art and creativity to share work on our platforms and support these creative individuals. And this is something that I've come to believe in as well because of them, and it's also something that I'll continue to carry for the rest of my life. With that in mind, it finally hit me that I would like to open up a creative agency back in Libya to give those artists who don't have access to resources or don't have a platform and help them become the change in their community that they aspire to be. I also want to be able to be that positive change in their lives. But before all that, I want to learn as well as teach others about this creative community through the podcast. I want to learn about the diaspora Libyans as well as those back home because, like I said, we Libyans are a very talented community. We have artists, singers, designers, photographers. You name it, we have it. Which brings me to the name of the podcast, Kulluna Tuhaf. The literal translation is that we are all masterpieces. And it's a metaphor that I came up with because I believe as people, we all have creativity. We just have to unlock it. as we all have something we are truly passionate about and we strive for and work for. Every single one of us is unique, as cliche as that sounds, and we are all different, but at the end of the day, that's what makes us who we are, masterpieces. Over the next couple of weeks, I'll be speaking to a range of different Libyan creatives who have been my source of motivation to speak about their art and what drives them to create it, as well as discuss other aspects pertaining to their work and the world around us. It'll be in Libyan Arabic as well as English, and the format of the podcast is going to be a different creative every week. And once there have been 4 different guests, we'll have a forum of these creatives discussing topics with regards to creativity and culture. This will give us a little insight about who they are and what drives them, as well as see the differences between the different creatives and their work. The first guest is going to be a friend of mine, Sadiq Al-Gillal, aka Boundcast, and without giving too much about the episode, I know you'll enjoy it. And inshallah, you'll learn a lot about him as well as the other guests and use them as a source of motivation and guidance in whatever you hope to achieve, inshallah. Don't forget to follow my Twitter or Instagram at Kulluna Tuhaf, and feel free to shoot me a message with any advice you have with what you want to see or don't want to see, or any questions you may have about the guests or the podcast. You could also shoot me a message if you need any help with regards to your own creative journey, or if you or anybody you know would like to be featured on the podcast. My name is Zahruddin Treki, and this has been episode 1 of Kulluna Tuhaf. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.